فاسألوا أهل الذكر إن كنتم لا تعلمون.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Bismillah walhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. In the time of Dhul Qarnayn, who was a great leader and ruler, he was asked to help with Ya'juj wa Ma'juj, Gog and Magog. They were running rampant in the earth, causing all sorts of problems. So Dhul Qarnayn constructed a giant metal wall that was reinforced with copper and iron on both sides. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to this in Surah Al-Kahf when he says, فَمَا اسْطَاعُوا أَن يَظْهَرُوهُ وَمَا اسْتَطَاعُوا لَهُ نَقَبًا. And Ya'juj wa Ma'juj, Gog and Magog, were made powerless. They were unable to scale or climb this wall, and they were unable to penetrate and dig through it. The verb istata'a comes in this ayah twice. However, it's spelled differently. The verb istata'a means to be able. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to Ya'juj wa Ma'juj, Gog and Magog, trying to scale and climb this wall, Allah omits a ta from the verb istata'a and says ista'u. But then when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is referring to them not being able to dig through this metal wall that was reinforced with copper and iron on both sides, Allah mentions the verb with all of its letters retained. Istata'u. So the question is why? Why is this verb that is originally istata'a mentioned in this verse twice? One time with a ta, a letter ta missing, and one time with all its letters retained. What could possibly be the reason for that? Well, when we look at the actions being mentioned in this verse, one action is that of climbing or scaling this wall. And the other action is digging through this metal wall that's reinforced with copper and iron on both sides. So what action would take longer? No doubt trying to dig through a metal wall with copper on both sides would be a more exhausting and daunting task to undertake than climbing the wall. Climbing the wall is something that would take a lot less time. So the verb istata'a has been shortened when mentioning climbing and scaling the wall because it takes less time to do that action. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions digging through the wall, which would take a longer time, he mentions the verb while it's having all of its letters retained. Subhanallah. The same verb is coming twice here in this verse, but one letter is omitted for the action that takes less time. So less letters in the verb, quicker to say the verb, because the action of climbing the wall and scaling the wall is an action that is quicker than trying to dig through it. So all the letters are mentioned in the verb, which makes the verb longer than what was previously mentioned before it in the ayah by one letter, to show that this action takes longer than scaling the wall. That the action of digging through the wall takes longer, so the whole verb was mentioned with all of its letters. And the action that takes less time, the verb was mentioned missing a letter to show that it takes less time to scale the wall. Subhanallah. Look at the accuracy of the Qur'an, how much detail there is when we examine the Qur'an and we do tadabbur and tafakkur, when we reflect and ponder over the meanings of the Quran, nothing is random. Everything is placed in the Quran for a purpose. If a letter is missing in a verb, or a letter is added, or letters are fused together, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses a word in one part of the ayah and chooses to use another word in the end part of the ayah, it's all perfectly placed, because the Quran is the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's the speech of our Creator. So it's absolutely perfect. The Quran is the greatest miracle ever given to any prophet. Subhanallah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.